Welcome to our first ever Japanese Pokemon monthly market update, where once a month we'll be covering everything in the Japanese market. We're talking raw cards, PSA 10, and sealed products for the Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet era. And since this is our first one, we're going to be kind of getting a feel for everything and seeing where all the cards and boxes are at, so that way next month we actually know what is going up or down. And there's a few reasons why I decided to make this video. I really want to help people collect whatever they want to collect. That's why I cover English Modern, Vintage, and now Japanese. But don't let anybody ever tell you what you can or cannot collect. If you guys want to get into Japanese right now, go for it. You know, just because someone has been collecting Japanese 5 years before you started doesn't mean a thing. You know, they just don't want the prices to go up. But one thing they forget is they were once new and there was somebody collecting Japanese 5 years before them. So it's just a never-ending cycle. So yeah, if you guys want to step into the Japanese market just because the English market is so crazy, go for it. Hopefully this video can help you understand the market a little bit better. And we do have to give thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is PokeNotify. If you guys are sick and tired of missing out on pre-orders or all these drops online, PokeNotify is the perfect Discord for you. You know, this is a community of collectors for the collectors. They are not a bot or reselling service. And you can even check them out, you know, 3-day free trial. And then if you use the code PokeBeard, you can get 25% off your first month. Definitely check them out. All the links are in the description. But all right, let's get to it. Starting off with some Japanese Pokemon news. So it says, Creatures promises to print more Terrestrial Festival EX and Battle Partners. So I personally would not be investing heavy into Terrestrial Festival EX boxes right now, because when the Japanese side says they're going to reprint something, they usually mean it. So that is good, because that box is super fun to open. But all right, let's get into it. We got the Pikachu illustration rare from 151. It's going up a little bit, you know, not a ton, like $30 in a PSA 10 to $40 in a PSA 10. And then raw was like $5 to maybe $7, $8. But I checked a ton of these cards, like I already looked at them. Almost all of them are coming up in price right now. So it's kind of crazy. Now we got the Charmander from 151. This was $35 in a PSA 10, now around $50. And raw was about $5 now, $7, $9, $8, $8. And then next we got the Eevee. The Eevee is almost $100 for English. And in a PSA 10, last sold like $55. Raw is going up for sure. It was $10, now last sold $24, $22, $25. PSA 9 for $47, couple 10s at $73, $93, $75. Still way cheaper than the English side. Next, we got the Ghastly. Look how expensive. This was $100 on release, and now got down to like 20-something bucks, and coming up a little bit right now, getting close to 40. And raw was $5, now last sold $11, $9, $9, $8, $7. It's one of my favorite illustration rares because it has all 3 evolutions in one card, plus the Meowth. Next, we got the T-Tar. So this thing was $26 just in December for the PSA 10, and now last sold $50, $35, $30, 9 sold for $20, a 10 for $33, and then raw, you know, it's around $5, $6. It was $3. I think I stocked up on quite a few of these. I think I have like 2 full pages of these cards that I got for like $2 a card. And that is from Clayburst. Same with this Raichu here. You know, this thing keeps going up and down, up and down. For a PSA 10, it's around $30. And raw is just going up a little bit. It was $3, $4. I also have a decent amount of these cards too. Last sold $8, $5, $6, $5. But you can find these cards for really good deals on eBay and stuff too, where like if you get it in bulk, you can get it even cheaper. Beautiful cards though. Next, we got the Magikarp from Triplet Beat. Look at that spike going up. This was $60 in a PSA 10. Now $130. Raw is selling for $40, $57, you know, $58, $55. A couple 10s at $207, $166. You got to think the English one is like $1,000. And I have seen this card in person for the Japanese side. It looks beautiful. But still, even at that price, that's not too bad. And raw was like $20. So definitely going crazy. Next, we have the Groudon from Raging Surf. This was $32 in a 10. Now $46. Last sold $44, $45. Raw was $10, $7, $10. And I, again, stocked up on a bunch of these because I absolutely love the art. And I think I got them all for like $4 or something like that. So that was basically the most popular illustration rares for the Scarlet and Violet era. And then next, we're going to be checking out trainers. And you guys know I don't really collect trainers, but when we're talking the Japanese side, you have to talk about trainers because the value they have is crazy. You know, a lot of times for their sets, that they have a really nice trainer card. It is usually the most expensive card in the set. So we will be checking out some here. So this is from Paradise Dragana. This is Alicia's Appeal. This was $420 in a PSA 10 when it came out. Got all the way down to $194. Coming up right now at $268. And even raw, I mean, $188, $150, $130. You know, we got a PSA 10 sale here at $270, $295, $260. Raw at $140, $125. Next, we got the Lacey from Stellar Miracle. This was $260 in a PSA 10 on release. Got down to $83. And now last sold $138, $130, $123, $145, $125. And raw selling for $36, $54, $60, $60, $35, $75. Next, we have the Carmine from Mask of Change. This was $400 in a PSA 10 on release. Got down to about $150 in a 10. Now last sold $326, $369, $250, and then raw $90, $100, $96, $86, $90. PSA 9s for about $102, $110. Next, we have the Bianca's Devotion from Cyber Judge. This was $153 on release in a 10. Got down to about $60, $70 in a 10. Coming up right now, last sold $130, $100, $87, and then raw's like $40. Same with the PSA 9. All right, next we have the Iono from Shiny Treasure EX. This was about $680 in a 10. Got down about $100. Now last sold $162 in a 10, $235, $150, and raw ranges from like $60 to $100. Next, we have the Erica's Invitation from 151. This card was $750 in a PSA 10 on release. Got down to about $95 in a 10. Now last sold $117, $125, and then for raw it was like $90. We got a PSA 9 for $45, a raw at $52, $60, $42. Next, we have the Iono from Clayburst. Wait till you see how expensive this card was. We have a sale at $2,100 in a PSA 10. So if you guys do not know, the Japanese side was actually very, very expensive for a lot of these cards and boxes not too long ago. But then the Japanese side actually decided to reprint a ton of the last sets, and they really reprinted those sets. So it brought a lot of the prices down for these cards. But it went all the way down to $405, which is still crazy. And now last sold $582 in a 10, $611, $575, $600, and then raw, we got a sale at $600, $400, $275, $300, $300, a 9 at $299. Next, we have the Dendra from Triplet Beat. This card was $850 in a PSA 10 and got down to like $90. Now last sold $152, $142, $130, $135, $135. But this proves right here, you know, don't buy a bunch of cards just because they're hyped up. You will definitely lose some money if you guys do that. You know, especially the Japanese side was never the most expensive side. English usually had Japanese beat. Of course, Japanese has a bunch of cards that English doesn't have that are worth a ton. And then, you know, a lot of their trainers are worth more. But yeah, it does not pay jumping into hypes. You know, I know a lot of people back then too were hyping up Japanese, like, you know, just flipping these cards. It was honestly a crazy time. Yeah, that's just such an insane drop if you think about it. $850 to like $100. That is just wild. And then raw is like 40 to 70 bucks. Next, we have the Grusha from Snow Hazard. This was $275 when it came out. Got all the way down to about 75 bucks in a 10. Now last sold $93.99. And raw is like 35, 40. We got a $22 sale down there. Next, we have the Miriam from Violet Base. This card is also super expensive, over $1,000 in a PSA 10 on release. Now last sold on a 10, $250, a 9 for $100, raw for $139, a PSA 9 for $60, raw for $130. Next, we are getting to the actual Pokemon here. So we got a few cards we're going to be checking out. Trestle Festival. We've been kind of checking those out on Market Mondays and Falling Fridays, so we're not going to go through every one. But the Umbreon EX is going up in price. So it was like $700 in a 10, got down to about $550, and now last sold $720, $878, $749, and Raw's going up too. You know, Raw was literally $290 it got down to. Now last sold $476, $405, $456, which does make sense if the English Umbreon is $1,500 and super hard to pull. You know, this is not a bad option. Next, we have the Umbreon Master Ball. This was about $687 on release. Now last sold in a 10, 495, 520. Raw, 205, 300. So the raw, it's just coming up a little bit, but not a ton. Next, we have the Sylveon EX. Love this card. So it's about $286 in a 10. And now last sold 350, 354, 315. And raw, 135, 160, 145. PSA 9 for 122. Next, we have the Espeon EX. This was about $300 when it first came out in a 10. Now last sales are around $200. And raw, 92, 99, 85, 90. So that's going up in price a little bit. All right, next we have the Pikachu EX from Super Electric Breaker. This card kind of keeps going up and down. But last sold in a 10, 375, 368. Raw, 237, 230, 200. This card's basically been, within like a $50 price range the whole time that it's been out. Next, we have the Latias EX from Paradise Dragana. Not super expensive. We have a couple sales in PSA 10s at like $200. Got down to like 115. And now going up right now, last sold 144, 182. Raw sold for 100, 186, 103. Next, we have the Alolan Executor EX from Paradise Dragana. So it's about $120 in a 10. Now last sold 61, 48, 52, 58. And then raw's like 30, 23, 25. All right, next we have the Tropicos EX from Stellar Miracle. This card was about $250 in a 10. Now last sold 82, 77, 115, 85, 72. Raw's like 45, 60, 50. Next, we have the Greninja EX from Crimson Haze. So it's about $215 on release. Got down to about $100 in a PSA 10. Now last sold 300, 360, 293, 311, 311. Raw 160, 225, 41. That can't be right. Oh, it's a replica. And then another raw 170. Next, we have the Raging Bolt EX from Wild Force. It was 157 in a PSA 10. Now last sold 79. Rod 43, Rod 50, Rod 46. Another 10 at 80. Next, we have the Iron Crown EX from Cyber Judge. Was $120 in a 10. Now last sold 60, 32, 60, 68, and Raw's like 27, 30, 22. Next, we have the Mew EX from Shiny Treasure EX. So this card was pretty expensive on release, $353 in a PSA 10. Got down to $95. Now last sold 270, 264, 301 in a 10. And then Raw's 135, 145, and 170. Next, we have the Charizard EX. This card was $572 in a 10 on release. Got down to about 136. Now last sold 265, 278, 261. Raw at 140. Raw at 120. And another one at 105. Next, we have the Gardevoir EX from Shiny Treasure. This was $338 in a 10 on release. Got down to 70. Now last sold 121, 139, 140. And Raw's like 50, 60, and 70. Next, we have the Altaria EX from Future Flash. This card was $183 in a 10 on release. Got down to $53. Now last sold 70, 64, 60, and then Raw's like 25, 30 bucks. Next, we have the Roaring Moon EX from Ancient Roar. This was $275 in a PSA 10. Got down to $69. Now last sold 85, 81, 80, and Raw's right around 50. Next, we have the Charizard EX from Ruler of the Black Flame. So this was $850 on release in a 10. Got down to about $132. Now last sold 180, 227, 237, 242, 200. And Raw's right around $100. Next, we have the Pikachu Master Ball from 151. This card was pretty expensive. It was $770 in a PSA 10. Got all the way down to $240. Now last sold 328, 310, 358, 300. And then for Raw, it's like 190 to 200 bucks. Next, we have the Gengar Master Ball. This was about $400 something on release. Got down to about 200 bucks. Now last sold 325, 300, 333, and then Raw's right around 200 bucks. Next, we have the Charizard EX from 151. This card was $600 in a PSA 10 on release. Got down to 148. Now last sold 227, 225, 250, and then Raw's like 170, 110, 150, 125. Next, we have the Mew EX. This is not a promo for them. for 151. So this was $820 in a PSA 10 on release. Got down to $100, and now last sold 130, 130, 150, and Raws right around 60, 70, and 55 bucks. Next, we have the Venusaur EX from 151. This was $212 in a PSA 10. That's just pathetic. Then got down to $67, and now last sold 88, 90, and raw 55, 54, 51. Venusaur never gets any love. Next, we have the Blastoise EX. This was about $300 on release, got down to $70. Now last sold 93, 123, 107, and raw was like 40, 57, 41. Next, the Zapdos EX. This was $260 on release in a 10. Got down to $65. Now last sold 91, 80. PSA 9 for 45, and Raws right around 40 to 60 bucks. Next, we have the Gardevoir EX from Scarlet base set. This was $395 on release in a 10. Got down to about 80 bucks. Now last sold 125, 96, 100. Raws at 80, 82, 70. We even got a 55 down there for a 9. Next, we have the Umbreon Unagaba promo. So these were pretty expensive on release. They were $166 in a PSA 10. Literally got down to like 50, 60 bucks, and they're going up in price right now. Last sold 110 for a 10, 100, 100, and then Raws right around 50 bucks. I do enjoy those cards. They're pretty unique. So these would be the type of cards that I would collect because we don't get these cards in English. So same with this card right here, the Detective Pikachu promo. Adorable card. It's $200 in a PSA 10. And now you can find it for like 50 to 70 bucks in a PSA 10. Raw 76, 37, 30. PSA 9 for 35. All right, checking out some Japanese Scarlet and Violet era booster boxes. So like I said, Terrestrial Festival, we're going to get a big reprint. Was $55 a box. Now it's at like almost 90. That's sold 94, 85, 90, 90, 107. So what's going to happen is, since, Pokemon announced they're doing a huge reprint, the people that are sitting on thousands of these boxes are going to sell them, and a bunch of people are going to be undercutting people, which is going to make the prices go down. But they want to sell them so they can make that profit so they can buy more when the reprint comes. Next, we have the Super Electric Breaker booster box that says the Pikachu. This box has not really gone crazy at all. It's kind of been the same price the whole time, between like $45 to $65. But yeah, last sold 65, 70, 50, 62. Not too bad. Next, we have the Paradise Dragon booster box. Same thing, pretty level. Last sold 50, 45, 53, 50. And we're not checking every Japanese set. We're just checking the more popular ones. Next, we have the Crimson Haze booster box. This has the Greninja in it. It last sold 42, 45, 40, 41, 40. So if you guys really just want to rip some packs where, there's a couple decent valuable cards in the set, a lot of these Japanese booster boxes is a great option right now. Next, we have the Shiny Treasure EX box. This was $88 when it first came out. Now last sold 57, 45, 50, 48, 50. Next, 151. Now this box has had quite the ride. It was $137 on release, got up to $210, all the way down to about 65 bucks. And now coming up again, last sold 103, 95, 120, 120. Next, we have the Triplet Beat booster box. This has the Magikarp in it. So this was $150 on release. And it looks like it just keeps going down and down. Last sold 55, 41, 59, 51, 50. One at 42. Next, getting to some Sword and Shield cards. Checking the most popular ones. We got the Giratina V-Star from V-Star Universe. This card was $480 in a PSA 10 on release. Got down to like $82 and coming up right now. Last sold 138, 126. Raw at 70, 90, 90, 73. Next, we have the Mewtwo V-Star. Very cheap for them. This was $205 in a PSA 10 on release. Got down to about 50 bucks. Now coming up just a little bit, last sold 58, 70, 63, and Raws like 25 to 40 bucks. Next, we have the Lugia V from Paradigm Trigger. This card was $1,500 in a PSA 10 on release, and it looks like it's just going down and down and down, all the way down to about $295 in a 10. Coming up right now, last sold 440, 350, 350, 350, and PSA 9 at 250, raw at 240. Next, we have the Giratina V. This card started at $850, got up to $1,200, down to $600, back up to 1200, all the way down to about 395. Now coming up again, last sold 785, 710, 768, 750, and then raw, 425. We got a PSA 9 at 566, another raw at 399. Next, we have the Aerodactyl V from Lost Abyss. This was $375 and a 10 on release. Got all the way down to 78, coming up just a little bit. Last sold 98, 110, 97. We got a raw at 61, a raw at 47. Next, we have the Machamp from Time Glazer. This was $137 in a PSA 10. Got all the way down to $61. Now last sold 82, 76, 67, 59, raws 25, 40, 18. Next, we have the Charizard V from Starbirth. One of my favorite cards in the Sword and Shield era. This was $491 on release. Got down to $231. Big spike to $509. And then got down to $133 again. And now it's coming up just a little bit. Last sold $150, $165, $150, $160. Raw is right around $90. Next, we have the Charizard from the 25th Anniversary Edition. The Japanese side really pops with these crazy borders. So this was $457 on release. Got all the way down to about $160. Now last sold $197, $225, $200, $198. And then raws $150, $125, $148. Next, we have the Rayquaza VMAX from Blue Sky Stream. This graph looks a little messed up. Every once in a while on PokeData, they will be missing some data and some information. That will happen. But the Rayquaza VMAX, $3,500 in a 10, got down to $1,000. And we got a sale here in 2025 for $2,099. And then for raw, not too many raw sales for this card actually. We got a sale at $460, but that was definitely a while ago. Next, we have the Rayquaza V. So this card got up to $759 in a 10. Now last sold $305, $273, $250, raw at $160 and $140. Next, we have the Dragonite V. This card was $350 in a PSA 10 for its high. Got down about $173, coming up a little bit right now. Last sold $270, $215, $215, raw $140, $160. Next, just checking out the whole EV Heroes page here. Umbreon raw 1500, Sylveon VMAX 450, Glaceon VMAX 270, Leafeon 269. And then they have like the Jolteon, Flareon and stuff because those weren't promos for them. So they actually are a lot more expensive than ours because ours are promos, obviously. But we're going to actually be checking both Umbreons here. So the Umbreon VMAX, look at that. The high was $5,494. Got down to like $1,700. Now last sold $22, $22, $21. And then we got a PSA 9 at $1,300 and $1,000. There's not too many raw sales because this is a card that pretty much everybody's going to get graded. Next, we have the Umbreon V. So the high for this card was $435. Got down to $182. Now last sold $240. 9 at $150. Another 10 at $240, $248. Raw at $175. Next, we have the Gengar VMAX. So this was $829 in a PSA 10 for its high in 2023. Then got down to $397. Coming up right now. Last sold $700, $750, $670, $559. A raw at $425. Next, we have the V-Star Universe Booster Box. So this box has kind of gone up and down, up and down. So it's like $117 on release, got all the way down to $65. And coming up right now, last sold $88, $83, $91, $85. Next, we have the Paradigm Trigger Booster Box. This box was $126 on release and going down in price right now. Last sold $62, $50, $60, $55, $69, $59, $59. Looks like it's up like $5, I guess. Next, we have the Lost Abyss Booster Box. I think this is one of the coolest looking booster boxes too. So the high was like $190, not $200 for this box. Got all the way down to $70. Now last sold $109, $115, $100, $100. We got a sale at $78. Next, we have the Starbirth Booster Box. The high for this was $120. Now last sold $68, $75, $61, $75. Next, we have the 25th Anniversary Collection Box. This thing got up to $158 from $60, then went back down to $73, and coming up again right now at $125, $199. Next, we have the Blue Sky Stream Booster Box. Very expensive, was $100 on release, got up to about $526, then went down to $229 and coming up again. Last sold $380, $385, $326, $350, $388. And last on the list, we have Eevee Heroes Booster Box. So this was about $190 on release, got up to $550, then went back down to $340, and coming up again right now at $427, $400, $399, $399, $375, and $400. But all right, that was our Japanese monthly video. We literally had 75 pages open. That's the max my laptop will even let me do. So let me know down below what you guys think. If you guys want me to change anything, maybe a different format, different order, anything like that, please let me know. And then also let me know what you guys are trying to pick up from any of these sets or any of these cards or anything like that. I would love to know. So if you guys do like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. Leaving a like and comment helps the most, and I comment back to every single person. Might take me up to a week, but I'll definitely get to you. And then if you want to support more, you can check out my Instagram, or you can join my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. And I always post when stuff comes back in stock, like Pokemon Center ETBs. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you want to watch my last Pokemon Falling Friday, which was full of prismatic evolutions, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.